And as the fallout from Biden's debate performance and primetime interview continues, we're nearly 6 weeks out from the Democratic National Convention. This could be the first time in decades where it is uncertain who the nominee will be. You just heard Alex. Marianne Williamson ran against Joe Biden in the 2024 presidential primaries. As we know, Biden secured the Democratic nomination in March. Well, now Williamson is calling for Biden to withdraw from the race. She is also recommending an open convention to decide the Democratic candidate. Marianne Williamson joining us this morning. Marianne, welcome back.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have you. So you've officially relaunched your presidential campaign. We know you've called for the president to drop out. Who do you think he should, if he vacates the race, who do you think should step in?
Well, obviously, I think it should be me, or
Yeah.
I wouldn't be wrong. But the
Yes.
point is that this thing has to happen, and it has to happen quickly. No major company in this country could survive if, when a crisis like this occurred, there was such slow reaction. The people are watching. This is not just about watching Biden's debate performance. This is about watching how the Democratic Party is handling this. As you said, we only have 6 weeks until the convention. This thing should be thrown back to the delegates. The lack of courage, the slowness, the figuring it out, the trying to formulate, even the donors. This should not be about what the donors decide anyway. This should be about what the people decide. We have a crisis on our hands. Everybody knows it. This should now be, somebody needs to have a very serious talk with President Biden, with the Biden family. We need to move on. We only have 4 months until Election Day, and Donald Trump is laughing. You were mentioning earlier that Donald Trump is saying to Biden, "Oh, you ought to stay in." Well, of course he's saying that.
Oh, yeah, I saw it.
The Republicans are enjoying this fiasco.
Yeah, Trump actually posted on Truth Social, almost baiting the president to stay in the race. Meanwhile, like Alex mentioned, top House Democrats are meeting today to discuss Biden's path forward. You and I know only Biden himself can drop out. So based on what you know about Joe Biden, do you think eventually he'll heed the advice from so many Democrats and drop out of the race?
We all know that there's a certain group of people that could walk into the room and say, "Joe, you must do this for your country." There is that group, and they're just walking so slow. Who should say it? Who can talk to them? There is a group of very powerful Democrats who I believe should have done this earlier, who can walk into a room with President and Mrs. Biden and say what needs to be said. I remember during Watergate, that's what Howard Baker and others did. They said to Nixon, "It's over." Someone needs to say that to Joe Biden. I'm sorry.
And right now we're looking at some of the Democrats who are asking Biden to drop out of the race. Let's talk about Kamala Harris, of course, the VP. She is considered the most likely person to step in should Biden decide to drop out. Would you support Harris at the top of the ticket, Marianne?
What I support is the democratic process. When you say she would, quote unquote, step in, that's not how a democracy is supposed to work. This is supposed to be thrown over to the delegates. This is not about party elites saying, well, who are we going to decide? This is how we got here, because a small group of people, you'd think we were the Council of Guardians in Iran or something. A small group of people, political and media elites, decided it's going to be Joe. That's how we got here. The last thing we need is for anybody such as they to think they have the right to say it's going to be Kamala. This is about a democracy, and you can't have a democracy when you don't have a democratic process. This is about Kamala running if she wants, Gavin Newsom running if he wants, any of us running if we want, and the delegates. It should be in the hands of the delegates. And it's also very important that the media heed that insistence on the part of the people. Anyone who is an FEC registered qualified candidate should be given equal exposure, and it will be exciting, by the way.
And that's why you're suggesting the open convention in August. We know you're advocating for that. Why do you believe that is the best option to move forward?
Because it's democracy. People, some of the elite talk about how, it would be chaotic, right? Because it wouldn't be under their control. For about 200 years, we worked that way. People would be caring. It's all such, politics has become prepackaged food. This is why people are turning off. This is why people are saying they're not even going to vote. If you actually throw this thing open right now and you have different people who are saying, hey, I'm running, Gavin, Kamala, myself, whomever else, and let us have a mini primary. And then at the convention, you'll actually do what in a democracy is supposed to be done. It's an aberrational chapter of American history that all of this is so locked up by political and media elites before people even get to conventions.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.